I wanted to share with you a personal story. It's a family story about how one of the diseases that the good doctor deals with, and all of you are so involved with, has impacted my family, has impacted me, and that's my mom, who had Alzheimer's, and all of us know Alzheimer's is such a cruel disease. It wipes out one's identity and a sense of self. Families are forced to see their loved ones slowly disappear before their very eyes. Today, 5.4 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's. As of this year, 450,000 Floridians are living with Alzheimer's. This is a 25% increase from just a few years ago. And an American develops Alzheimer's every 69 seconds. And in just a few years, an American will develop this disease every 33 seconds. This is unacceptable, and we must do so much more as a society to make sure that these terrible statistics are part of our past and not part of our future as a society and as a community. I lost my mother to complications from Alzheimer's, and our family saw firsthand the havoc that Alzheimer's causes. My mother was a warm, loving, caring woman who led an extraordinary life. Some of you had known her. I know David Lawrence liked her, loved her, and appreciated her. She was my father's rock, his soulmate, his best friend, his companion for 65 years of marriage. And Abu Mandi, as we called her, was an amazing mother, a terrific grandmother. And when I was first elected to Congress, our children, Dexter and my children, were very young. They were only 2 and 3 years old. And my mom was an unwavering source of support for us, taking care of them, traveling with me every week to Washington. And her actions made my transition to Congress all the more manageable. And my most ambitious goal was never to be a member of Congress and never to chair the Foreign Affairs Committee. It was to be the kind of mother to my kids that my mother was to me. And every day when I think about her, she's still the yardstick that I use to measure what kind of a mom I am. So it was painful for all of us to see my mom in this fog, and to see her former self change as she descended further away from us. My family and I understood why Alzheimer's is called the long goodbye, and it's a long, painful goodbye. And that's why I have been a staunch advocate for Alzheimer's research and for Alzheimer's care, especially for the caregivers. It was very hard for my father. It's very hard for all of us. And you know, if you know someone who has been stricken with any of these diseases, you know that it inflicts the whole family. It is a family disease, and the caregivers. Oh my gosh, we got to meet so many families who had these kinds of diseases, and it's a whole range of them. And the caregivers are just strained so that they can hardly do anything more. There are nearly 15 million Alzheimer's and dementia caregivers, providing 17 billion hours of unpaid care, valued at $202 billion. And I can tell you, oh, thanks. Is that the rum we agreed to? Thank you. It's always difficult for me to talk about my mom and Alzheimer's, because it's something so personal. And I know that you know somebody who's been afflicted like this, and you know how hard it is for the family and for those caregivers, and the toll that it takes on the caregiver's health. It's very important, and they have done studies to say how much of an impact has it had on caregivers. Well, it's estimated that $7.9 billion in additional health care for the caregivers because it's so draining and it's such a strain. More than 60% of family caregivers report high level of stress, and 33% report symptoms of depression. And I can tell you that it impacted my father that strongly, and it's difficult for everyone. And although great strides have been made in treating Alzheimer's, there's still so much left to accomplish. And that's why I'm so excited about this group and this meeting and what this good doctor is doing. And I'm so glad that David helped to get this funding, because we know that early detection is key to getting individuals the proper treatment. Awareness, early detection, research. Those are the three components that we need to stress more and more. And the search for better treatment continues, and it's also important for our nation's fiscal health, because this year the cost of caring for those suffering from Alzheimer's in our nation is estimated to reach $183 billion. These are astronomical numbers. The average per person Medicare payments for those with Alzheimer's and other dementia are 3 times higher than those without those conditions. Medicaid spending 9 times higher. So if nothing is done to address this grim reality, the cost of Alzheimer's to Americans will total $1.1 trillion by the year 2050. So it's clear that funding is critical. Getting more sophisticated treatments and an eventual cure, because I believe that we will find a cure. It will not only save lives, but it will also help our country's fiscal reality. And I will continue to be a strong advocate for research to improve our knowledge about Alzheimer's, so that families will not have to feel the pain of watching their loved ones slowly being ravaged by this terrible, terrible disease. So thank you for the opportunity to share that story. And I almost made it through without choking up. But my mom was a special lady, and she's with me every day.